Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to class today and Happy New Month. Good evening, John. Good evening, Caleb. Yeah, good evening, Victory. Good evening, Obiamaka. Good evening, Femi. Sandra, good evening. I'm doing very well. Yeah, Happy New Month to all of us. Good evening, Fatima. Family is doing well, thank God. How are you all doing? Yeah, work is fine, thank God. We're done for today. Everyone is fine. So, how has classes been? Ebenezer, my day was fine. Happy New Month too. Happy New Month to all of us. So, how has it been? Obiamaka. Yeah, it's getting tougher. You should expect that and even more. Yeah, sure. With Emmanuel, it has to be interesting. Mm, victory. Okay. Nice. Well, nice victory. Ah, I miss you guys too. So I hope you're able to follow up with the hands-on on forensic investigation. How many of you have tried the hands-on? Emmanuel, good evening and happy new month to hi, Temitola. Okay. I guess someone said, okay, Emmanuel said we had issues downloading a file. Should it be the cloned image file from GitHub? Oh, Blessing said I couldn't do it because I still can't download Autopsy and Z7-Zip. Oh, sorry about that. I can hear me, John. Nice. My hands were really dirty this weekend, but I'm getting it cleansed. Interesting. Well, you had issues downloading Autopsy. Yeah, I thought as much, Emmanuel. Yes, from GitHub. I'm sure he dropped his GitHub link, the link to his account, so you could just get the image from his own GitHub account. You need to do that. It's part of your activity for this project. Yeah, Taiwo, happy new month. Good evening, precious. Okay, European Bubble is saying something here. If you are in squad one, all those files were posted in the WhatsApp group. Okay, it's interesting. You guys are getting along. Uh-uh. So why haven't you been able to download Autopsy Victory? James is asking if you can get, you're sure you can get a real life scenario. You think you've learned to that level of getting a real life scenario where you get information from people's phone numbers? Hmm? Philip, you can get all of this in Kali, but you know, Kali is more advanced for beginners. A lot of people here are beginners. So the last project we did, which is LITA, Ladies in Tech Africa, we tried as much as we could to get everyone to download a VM, right? So, but it wasn't, people were not getting along. Blessing, if your firewall blocked it, please go and check your settings. So that is why most times for this stage or at this stage, we just advise you go with Windows, right? Why we're using yeah, if you're familiar with VirtualBox, you can download and install Kali, and then you work with it. It's more professional, right? But it has a lot of, you know, technical things around. So that is why for starters, we would prefer going through this route so that once you progress, then you know that you have to upgrade to Kali. Okay, so welcome to class, everyone. I want to encourage everyone that is still having issues, right, with getting your class activity done, especially for the autopsy, forensic investigation using autopsy. Okay, I'll just want to encourage you to try as much as you can. Maybe for those that are yet to download, get a stronger network or internet. All right, and then try maybe during the nights when there are less traffic, and then you'll see how it goes. And for those that have tried, just keep trying. It is the practice that makes perfection. Okay. So just keep trying. Where you have issues, you could go back, replay the video, and then see how you help yourself out. Okay. So please, if the GitHub file can be made available, the image, you could just send it across. And without the Orlando, so without the 7-zip, you cannot extract a file. The 7-zip is needed for extraction of files from um, for your autopsy investigation. So, okay, someone said try using Microsoft Edge instead of Chrome. I had same issues when using Chrome, but when I used Edge, everything worked. For those that are having issues, someone just dropped this suggestion that you could use Microsoft Edge, right? Okay. So I'm sure it's becoming tougher and more interesting. Okay. While we wait for others to join, have you all gotten access to your LMS? Yeah, Akwaji, good day to you. Joy said it was same thing with Edge. Just I know autopsy, right, is huge and it requires a strong network for fast download. Most times it stops at the middle of the week. So you need a very strong network. Also, please read the comments. There are things that have worked out for your colleagues. You could just try some of their process. Yeah, James, that's the word. It's tougher and interesting. Mhm. It can only get tougher. But for the interesting part, it lies in your hands to make it interesting. Well, as for being tough, sure. All right, so welcome to class. Thank you for all the pleasantries. Thank you for the updates and the feedbacks. The rain won't allow me enjoy today's class. My internet network is poor. Yeah, rain is also falling here at my end. I pray my internet will not be affected, hopefully, right? So let's start immediately. Today we're going to be looking at defense security, understanding SOC and blue team rules. Okay. Should I say the forensic? Okay, once we start, you need to answer some questions. You answer a couple of questions to really ascertain your level of understanding of what we are really doing. All right. So, are we good to go? Now we're going to be looking at the defensive part of cybersecurity, right? And it has to do with SOC and blue team rules. Okay, so first of all, what is defensive security? We have talked about the offensive security. Can someone remind us of what offensive security is, or what happens around offensive security? I need your feedbacks. So we have talked about offensive, and now we want to look at the defensive security. Can we remember what offensive security is all about? Good evening. Those that are just joining us, you're welcome to class. Oh, wow. Bamijola says, defense security provides adaptable security services to defense and defense industry and provides timely considered guidance to defense staff. Wow. The blue teamers. Yeah, I know we are about to talk about defensive, but I want us to refresh our memory on the offensive security. Ethical hacking, trying to break into systems. Okay, Tide Tech says offensive security is like ethical hacking, trying to break into a system to see its vulnerability. Right. Thank you very much. Yeah, I need more of this. Thank you, thanks for that feedback, penetration testing, ethical hacker, ethical hacker. What is ethical hacking? Offensive security checks for vulnerability and try to hack into a system. Blessing, nice. I am still expecting my elements invite. All right. Noted. Ade Remo. Then offensive, which is the red team, is an attempt to simulate an attack or vulnerability. Wow. So I'm seeing words that are interchangeably used: vulnerability, attack, and all of that. So someone here is saying, Obiamaka says, offensive is finding vulnerability and exploiting them for better security. Okay, beautiful. Oh, nice. So we still have that in memory. So now emulates real-world attackers to verify vulnerability in a system of organizations. Stella, this is beautiful. All right, we all answered correctly, right? We all answered correctly. Now we are going to be looking at, okay, and before I go further, was there any of this offensive? All right, let me leave that. Now for the defensive security, we are now trying to see how we understand SOC and the blue team rules, right? So what is defensive security? One, defensive security focuses on protection of systems and data. Secondly, it uses prevention, detection, and response strategy to achieve this protection of system and data, right? And then it ensures safety of digital assets. Now, what are the key objectives of defensive cybersecurity? One is to detect and mitigate threats quickly, to reduce attack surface, to maintain system availability and integrity, and then to protect sensitive data from unauthorized access. So we see that the defensive kind of security, when it comes to cybersecurity, has a lot of things to offer, all right? It mitigates, it reduces attack surfaces, it maintains system availability and integrity, and then it protects data from unauthorized access. All right. So we have these as the objectives for defensive cyber security. All right. So now we want to talk about the SOC, which stands for Security Operations Center. Security Operations Center. Before I go on, when you hear about Security Operations Center, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? My screen is not blank. It should be from your ends. Please check. Yeah, my screen is not blank. I'm sure of that. So you just saw Security Operations Center. What comes to your mind? What plays in your head? Does it sound like a specific location? When we talk about Security Operations Center, what comes to your mind? What plays in your head? Okay, this center, is it like a physical location or somewhere? Warehouse of. Okay, so can someone just write what comes to your mind when you hear about Security Operations Center? Oh, nice. Taiwo says an IT room. something like a central office, beautiful, Bayo. James says, okay. Sorry, Emmanuel says a hub. James says center where security operations are carried out, something like a central office. Okole says cloud, just like an IT room, just like chief security officer office. Wow. Centralized system function, a station where defensive security is carried out. Okay, nice. So, and before now, I used to think before now, when I hear security operations center, I feel maybe it's somewhere, a location, maybe in the US or maybe in UK or somewhere where people are just there manning and maybe a system and then looking out for something that will not cause havoc, or if there is a breach, then an alert to be sent, maybe from somewhere. But okay, you can see it here. It's a central hub for monitoring security incidents. It is not for a specific organization. So your organization, each organization, provided you're rendering IT services or where IT services are rendered, should have a security operations center. Okay? Should have a security operations center, right? Where security incidents are monitored and where also tools are used to analyze responses. Okay? It might not really be somewhere physical, right? Like a room, or like a room that is dedicated for that. Well, big organizations have that as like somewhere dedicated for such services. But if you're working with a small number of staff, right, and you usually gain access to network, you provide IT services, you can have your hub. Sure, it mustn't be a room, provided that these services are available. All right, it is a center. Okay, and here under this security operations center, we have 3 tiers. The work in 3 tiers: security analysts, incident responders, and then the threat hunters. We have security analysts. These are people that monitor alert. The monitor alert means when there is an intrusion, right? When something is not going smoothly, when it is not in accordance with the laid rules, an alert is being triggered. All right. So these security analysts, what they do is they monitor alert of, and you know, when you say alert, it means something has happened. For instance, you get an alert from your bank. It should be either debit or credit, right? So it means they are alerting you that something has happened, a transaction has taken place in that account. It could be debit, it could be credit. So that alert you're saying is, at that point, there is an activity that just took place. All right. So for the security analysts, they are always there to monitor whatever alert that comes in. All right. As I said, it could be false positive alert, or it could be false alert, it could be positive alert. All the alerts, they monitor the alerts that come into that system or into that network. Okay. Then the second tiers are incident responders. When these alerts are being raised, if they need to be looked into, there are people that do that, and they are called the incident responders. For instance, if an intrusion, if there is an alert that someone has intruded into, or an IP address is being seen, right? repeatedly intruding into that network, okay, the work of the incident responder is to investigate that threat. What is this all about? This IP address, where is it coming from? Is it an attack? What is it all about? So if it is a threat, they investigate and then send that threat to the threat hunters, which search for vulnerabilities. How did this threat get its way to our network? All right. So these are what security operations centers, what the activities that go on there, and then the 3 tiers of should I say activity also that are being carried out by different staff or different roles that are being played at that moment. So someone might ask, now we have the blue team. Someone might ask, when we talked about the offensive, we just talked about the ethical hackers, right? And then some other roles that are attached before someone become a penetration tester and all of that. So here we have the SOC, which is the Security Operations Center of that looks into security, that looks into the incident that happens in a network, analyzes this incident, responds to the incident, and then look for ways of searching for vulnerabilities. All right, so this is basically what happens here, or the roles that are being found here, right? Security analysts, incident responders, and then threat hunters. Now, for the blue team, someone might just say, okay, the defense security are mainly blue teams, right? So why are we having SOC? Okay. Oh, sorry, I've not looked at the comment section. I want to be a bit fast. I'll come back to the comment section. I'm saying, yes. All right. So please hold on, Jessica. I'm seeing your questions. Just allow us flow for now. Okay. So now we are talking about the SOC and the 3 tiers that are found under SOC. Now we're going to look at the blue team responsibilities. Who are they? Who are this blue team? One, they monitor networks just as the others monitor alerts, right? And at this point, they detect anomalies. Then also incident response, they mitigate these threats. They study hackers' tactics. Then security assessment, they test and update security. And then forensic analysis, they investigate breaches. All right? They investigate these breaches. Why is it that we have these breaches? Why is it that this was able to go through? Okay, so these are what you get in the responsibilities of the blue team. Okay, now what is the key difference? For the SOC is a continuous monitoring and response to threats. They do that, the monitor for alerts and then for threats. It is a continuous thing for the SOC. Then for the blue team, it covers the overall defense and security improvement of a system. So a SOC operates within the blue team framework. All right. So if you work for the SOC or you work under the SOC, which is the Security Operations Center, it means you are also working for the blue team. All right. But the blue team covers a wider range of responsibility, including prevention and improving security postures. So what the SOC automatically does, or literally does, is they get all of those alerts and move and shift it to the blue team for further investigation, for further prevention, and for improving the security posture of that network. If you are familiar with, Microsoft's Defender, right? You could, if your organization use Microsoft 365, for instance, for whatever they do, and you are an IT person, you're IT personnel, most times they use Microsoft Defender to check for their security postures, right? And then you could see the percentage of each of their activity, how safe, how secure that particular activity is at that point in time. I'm just using MS 365, Microsoft 365 as an example for this particular improving your security posture. All right, so let me go and check for, oh, someone says a physical building set apart for security activities. That's what usually plays. Its mission is to detect, analyze, and respond to security incidents in real time. Nice. SOC is where security operation is carried out. Okay, where monitoring takes place. All right. All right, a hub or office, security operations center. All right, nice. So like a command space for security operations. Okay, so yeah, Jessica was asking, is it possible for someone to be in the 3 tiers? Very, very possible. Okay, very possible. It is possible. Okay, so don't the red team perform similar functions to tier 3? I think you should really know what the red team does, and then we call them offensive and ethical hackers, because the third tier searches for vulnerabilities, right? Fine, but they don't exploit the vulnerability, okay? So for the red team, they search for vulnerability and they exploit those vulnerability. I don't know if you're getting me. So that is why they can exploit the vulnerability, that is using that access point to try and hack that system. That is exploitation of the vulnerability. Is your question answered? Who asked that question? Master Oba's tutorial. Have I answered your question? Yes. Have I answered your question? You asked if don't the red team perform similar functions to tier 3? Okay, and I said for the red team, they exploit the vulnerability. That is, they carry out the same thing a hacker will do, okay? But why they are called ethical is because they are given authorization to do that. So when they get vulnerabilities in a particular network or system, they exploit it. That is, they find their way through that vulnerability. But for this one, they just find the vulnerability and then, okay, this is what we have find and what we're able to get. This is a vulnerable state, and then it's been pushed to the red team for further investigation. Okay, so nice. I want to know if, okay, thank you, Master Oba's tutorial. So now, how SOC and blue teams work together. How do these two teams work together? Is blue team working for all category? I don't really understand your question, John or Larry. Is blue team working for all category? Please make me understand your question. Okay, is blue team working for all departments? Sure, because once this network is being monitored, right? And there are threats, okay, it's pushed to the blue team, and then they take it up from there. If they need to do the patching, if they need to put more restrictions, then they go ahead. But it has to be from the alert or from the log activities that was sent to them from the SOC. Okay, so I think that is what they do. Yeah, they work for. Depending on the department, I don't know if I really understand this, your question. My working for all departments. Oh. Now, okay, how SOC and blue teams work together. Although the SOC focuses on monitoring and incident response, and the blue team works on security improvement and defense, they work closely, okay, to build a strong security posture. All right. So the SOC focuses on monitoring and incident responses. Incident response means, okay, there is an incident that happened. We are going to look into this incident. Is it outside of the rule that has been placed? Okay. Then for the blue team, the work for improvement, security improvement and defense, right? They are like, okay, we saw this from what the SOC personnel has sent. How do we intensify, or how do we build a stronger security, a stronger defense around our network? Are we to add more rules? Are we to block some IPs? Are we to show? They come up with a more stricter kind of defense for that particular network as a result of the incident report that was given and all of that. All right. So their collaboration ensures that threats are detected, analyzed, and prevented. All right. Threats are detected, threats are analyzed, and then threats are prevented. Okay. So now let us look at their collaboration process. Okay. So collaboration process between SOC and the blue team. When the SOC analysts monitor logs, please pay attention. For those that are feeling sleepy, you could just hold your eyes with your fingers. All right. So now for you to have a better understanding, because we'll still do hands-on on this. The SOC analysts, right, monitor logs, detect security events, and escalate incidents, right? Then this is for threat detection now. This is for threat detection, right? We want to detect a threat. How do we do that? Then for the blue team, they investigate these logs. Then if there is need for patches, vulnerability, that is, if there, remember what patches are: updating your software, updating the network, and then strengthens defenses. That is for threat detection. Under threat detection, the SOC analyzes the SOC analyst monitors logs. So in the course of this study, or in the course of this session, probably not today, we're going to monitor our logs. We're going to get logs. We're going to collect logs, right? And then we'll see how to analyze these logs. So you must understand, first of all, that there must be a monitoring of logs. That is, the analyst has to monitor a log and has to detect the security event. What has happened over time? What is happening with this network through the log? You can't get all of this without monitoring your logs, right? And then once that is done, it is sent to the blue team to investigate. Then after the investigation, if need be to patch the vulnerability, they do that. If it means that they need to strengthen their defense, then they do that. Then for incident response and recovery, there is an incident. What happens? How do SOC come into that? SOC incident responders contain and mitigate attack. Incident means, okay, for instance, let us use your email. All right, let us use your email. Someone, okay, I've used that before. You have an email and then you have a recovery email as well. Okay, at that point, if you're using a Gmail and then you want to access your email from another device, okay, you want to access your email from another device, and because that particular email has a recovery email, if you're usually using or accessing your email from your laptop, and then from a particular laptop, from probably your HP or whatever, and then for some reasons you decided to access that particular email from, let's say, from a Lenovo laptop, right? Probably not your laptop, or you got a new laptop, right? And then you want to access that email from another device. And because you have a recovery email, you're being alerted immediately, right? That another device is trying to gain access to your email. I don't know if someone has experienced that. Okay, so I don't know if someone has experienced that. There is an alert immediately, because at that point, the SOC analyst from Google is already monitoring the activity of that particular email address. And then it's trying to sending alert at that point, real time, that someone is trying to, because he wouldn't know if you are the same person, that there is a possibility that you are not the person that is trying to gain access to your email, right? Or probably your email has been hacked. So at that moment, there is a monitoring of your email, right? So when I say for the SOC, it is a continuous monitoring of logs, monitoring of network, to see if there is something that is abnormal coming up, and it's real time. It happens real time, just like using your email now. So when you click, it's usually, if you are aware of this, then you can just forget about this mail. But if you are not, there is something you're demanded to do, right? So at that point, because the analyst is always monitoring logs, monitoring the incident happening on your email. If you keep quiet and if you're not the person trying to gain access to your email, once you click, or once you press the button that says you are not the person, immediately blocks that access. Automatically, that person won't gain access. But if you keep quiet and say, okay, I am, then the person gains access. If your email has been hacked, that is how it happened. If your email has ever been hacked, it means one, you don't have a recovery email to really check or to get an alert of what is happening real time on that particular email, and then someone just logs you out, changed your password, and then hacks your email. Okay, so that is what happens. Exactly, even on Facebook and all of that. And even on your WhatsApp, of course, you should know by now, you should have, what's it called? Two-step verification or something. Two-step verification, something like that, right? So that when someone is trying to hack your WhatsApp, you must know an alert is sent to you. Okay, nice. Now, this is for threat detection. For threat detection here, the SOC analyst monitors logs, detects security events, and escalates incidents, while the blue team investigate patches, vulnerabilities, and then strengthens defenses, right? Then for incident response and recovery, the incident responders contains and mitigates attacks. I just used your email as an example. Okay, once it is not you, once you just say, I am not aware of this, from Google, they immediately mitigate that attack, because surely it is an attack. They mitigate the attack. The attacker will not have further access to your email, and then you'll be advised to change your password, right? Because automatically the hacker has your password and is trying to gain access. Okay, so now the blue team helps recover system, conduct forensic analysis, and apply security improvement, just as I said. Once you are not the responder, once you click, I am not aware of this login, then from their own end, they mitigate the attack, and then they advise you to get more stronger, maybe password, or you need to change your password and all of that. Okay, nice. They will not allow it to proceed. That is mitigating. It will not go further. So therefore, threat intelligence sharing. When the SOC analyst collects cyber threat intelligence and shares findings, right? The blue team uses threat intelligence to build better security policies. For instance, you might be asked to do a 2FA, right, or multi-factor authentication, and you might need to use maybe your, what's it called? Maybe facial recognition before you gain access, depending on the level of your organization, okay? So most times, you need to be authorized before you gain access. I'm sure a lot of organizations now, before you maybe gain access into your mail or the organization, let's say the organization portal, right? You need to go through a lot of like screening. Okay, if you don't use your biometrics, you could use whatever. Maybe someone has to allow you gain access. There must be an authentication from another device, all right? And then it goes on that way. Now, okay, I want us to, okay, I want us to picture a scenario, a real-time scenario because we're going to look out for phishing attack, we're going to look out for brute force attack, and then we'll see how it goes. Now, I want to Why is my slide? Okay. Okay. I want us to picture this, right? This life scenario. One, a ransom attack on an organization. Okay, a ransom attack on an organization. What is a ransom attack, first and foremost? I'm not looking at our comments for now. I'll do that shortly. Please, what is a ransom attack? Have we heard of ransom attack before? Oh, sorry. He said I'm too fast. Sorry. Damat Dre, sorry. I'll reduce my pace. Please, what is the ransom attack? Okay, so Michael says, okay, let me see what Okole Grace said. If you change password on your office mail, it will require authorization code or send code to your phone number. Okay. Yes. Requiring payments in exchange for sensitive data or information. Okay, nice. That's from Michael. Then the ransom attack is like a malware attack to the data network. You need to explain further, sir. Idowu. Someone said attack that requires payments. Encryption of data in exchange for money. Okay, ransom attack. Let's not waste much of our time. Thanks for your response. Ransom attack is, let's use the word kidnapping of someone's or of an organization data or information. Right? When you kidnap an organization information, what do you want? You want money. This kidnapping is not just you're encrypting their data. They cannot get access to their data. It is encrypted. That it is not in a form that they can understand any longer. So if these are sensitive data, ransom attack means encrypting sensitive data and then demanding for money, for payment, so that the organization can get back their data. And most times, the funny aspect is most times, even after the payment, your data is gone. All right. So let's look at this live scenario, right? For a ransom attack on an organization. The incident looks like an organization's network was hit by ransomware that is encrypting critical data and demanding payments. What action will the Security Operations Center carry out? One, they need to detect the anomaly using SIEM logs and then alert incident responders about unusual file encryption activity. Listen, there's a ransomware attack on an organization. And I said a ransomware attack is an attacker gaining access to your sensitive data. For instance, you go to your mail, your email, and then sensitive data of your organization, once you open it, you can't read it. You can't gain access. You can't read it. And then maybe at the end, you just see a contact address. If you want to regain this data, contact this address. All right. It is a ransomware attack. So what the SOC analyst does is, first of all, the action it takes is it detects the anomaly using SIEM logs. We're going to look at SIEM logs, right? And then alerts incident responders about unusual file encryption activity. This is where they start. And then what will the blue team do? What action will they take? First of all, they have to isolate affected systems or file to prevent spread of this malware. All right. And then analyze attack methods and patch vulnerability. How did this attack take place? How did it happen? Have you seen the difference now? The SOC, first of all, because they remember what the SOC analyst does: continuous monitoring of logs, continuous monitoring of activity of a network, right? So, as the analyst was what should I use? Was okay. Let's say as the analyst was doing his work or doing his duty, monitoring what was happening, he found out that some data are already encrypted, right? Some data already encrypted. And because this is his own rule, it has to be moved to the blue team, right? And then, yes, we'll look at SIEM log in this session as well. So just hold on. Just hold on. Then now the blue team will take up their own action. And what is the action? First of all, they will have to isolate the affected files to prevent spread. All right. And then they'll analyze the attack methods and then patch vulnerabilities. Remember, I think our first class when we talked about when a service provider in Nigeria had this issue. I don't know what happened, but you could use your used recharge card to recharge again, right? It was a vulnerability that needed to be patched. So now the blue team isolates these affected system. That's the first thing they will do. And then they analyze, how did this happen? What happened? Is there a vulnerability, or do we need to update what happened? So they go through, and then if there is need for patch, which definitely they should, they'll do the patching, and then they restore data from secure backups. That reminds me, that is why backups are very, very important. Because most times, even when those information are returned, they are already, the integrity of the information can be questionable, right? Because you don't know what the hacker had done, and then you don't know what they had used that information for. So it is very, very important, even as individuals, that you have a secure backup. You have a secure backup. Don't just your sensitive documents are always in your system. You just believe your password is strong enough and all of that. You should have not just a backup, but make sure you update your backup. All right. So what this team will do after analyzing the method of attack, they now go to restore back, they restore the data or the information instead of paying the ransom. Most times they even pay, but they would not go back to use that same information that has been tampered with. Okay, it's time for break. Someone is asking if there is no break today. Yeah, you can do Google Backup, OneDrive also, all these cloud backups. Just okay. Now let's hurriedly look into this one. Remember what we are talking about, okay? A life scenario where there is a ransomware attack. Now we're looking at this time around the phishing attempts. Can we remember what phishing is? What is phishing? Before we go for break. It's time for break, and we'll be right back after your break. Okay, welcome back, guys. Emmanuel, when would you want to sleep? Break has ended. Break is over. So welcome back. Yeah, I was asking what phishing is before we went on break. What is phishing? I need your responses. What is phishing? So can we be kind on this platform? Right? I'm saying some sort of aggressive words. Please, let's be kind with our words on this platform. Okay, so what is phishing? Thank you very much. James Damilare, a type of cybercrime where attackers often impersonate legitimate sources, use fraudulent emails, websites, or messages to trick individuals into revealing personal information like usernames. Beautiful. And Ido said, phishing is where threat actors attempt to retrieve sensitive information by manipulating people to click links, downloading attachments, or providing access over the phone. Malicious site, Stanley says malicious site. Okay, a spam message that is identical to that of an organization so as to gain private information or credential. Phishing is throwing a bait to unsuspected users. Nice. Okay, so and most times phishing is carried out through emails, right? In fact, emails are one of the fastest way of sending that. Okay, so thank you very much for your responses. Yeah, so now I want to ask, has anyone experienced phishing attack before? Yeah, through emails. Has anyone experienced this sort of attack before? Phishing. Okay, Justina said yes. Wow. Oh. Did you fall victim? For all of you that are saying yes, did you fall victim? Oh, through email. Okay. I haven't. Okay, Ngozi said she hasn't. I'm not sure. Yes, ma. No. I didn't fall victim. Okay. So, yes, I'm not didn't fall victim. My auntie fell victim. I know of someone that fell victim of this attack. Um, those ones used custom websites to carry out this attack. So I know of someone that fell victim of the attack. Sorry, he saw a custom website that was not the original website. It was a phishing site, right? And then they were advertising vehicles to be sold out, impounded vehicles and all of that. So he thought it was, and unfortunately, it's someone very close to me, and he just wanted to do his thing his own way, and then he didn't know it was the phishing site, and then bam. he sent money until it was time to get whatever he paid for, and then the whole thing was clear to him that he was a victim of a phishing attack, right? So these things are real, they happen. And why you're here is so you would not fall victim. And then for those around you, you also educate them on what the threat is all about, and then they are good because it is really, really, and even this not really email because we all visit the internet, right? All of this redirection, you're being redirected to, and then you will keep going and going and going. You keep filling forms and then entering your details. You should be very careful. Okay, you should be very careful. And even this what's it called? Online stores. Okay, you just have to be very careful. So phishing is attempting to making a site or making an should I say, and for instance, you have a site, okay, and you have another site that looks closely like that site. You don't know it has been used for another thing. For instance, you have let's use Fidelity Bank, one word, at whatever. Okay, at okay, let's say www.fidelity.org.ng, right? The fidelity there is small letter, right? And then you now see another website with www.fidelity with a B, with a capital F, and then a capital B for the bank, and then at this time around, not gov, maybe at gmail dot whatever dot ng. You see, there is this similarity between the original and the fake. So as a cybersecurity analyst, you should have eyes for detail. Okay, you should have eyes for detail. And then when we're still looking at a real, a live scenario where there's a phishing attempt here, employees receive sophisticated phishing email attempting to steal login credentials. This is an incident here. So what will the SOC analyst do? What action will he carry out? First, he identifies unusual login attempts from suspicious IP addresses, and then flags the phishing email and block the sender, right? So this is what the SOC analyst will do, the action that will be carried out. For our safety, we're going to do all of this hands-on next time we come to class. You'll be able to know a phishing link. There are open source tools for checking phishing links and then knowing if an email is sent from an attacker or if the website is original or not, right? So you can use anti-phishing toolbars and extension, just like we have Shodan has extensions, we have Wapalizer has extensions for our browsers, right? We also have anti-phishing tools that are also extensions to our browsers. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. We also have these anti-phishing tools that you can just add it up to as an extension to your browser. Once you open a website and it's a phishing site, it just gives you that alert. Oh, this site is phishing, is not what you think it is. Or you open an email, if it doesn't go to your spam mail, because most times they are moved to spam, right? And for clarity also, not all spam mails are phishing mails, right? They are not phishing mails, not all of them. Okay, not all spam mails are phishing mails, so that you wouldn't say that all the mails under spam are phishing. Not all of them, not all. Okay, so but for you to be on the safer side, you could just have these extensions. This anti-phishing tools has extensions on your browsers. They'll serve as your browser add-on, right? And then like Bitdefender traffic light is a very good one that you could just add up as an extension or as a browser add-on. Okay. You could also use Virus Total to investigate whatever. Virus Total, one word. Okay, for you to know. Okay, someone says, kindly mention a few of these anti-phishing tools. Okay, I will, because we're going to use them and then in our next class. Someone said, even me as well, scammers still call to look out for to avoid phishing attacks. Okay, the things, oh, this is a lovely question. The things you should look out for to avoid phishing attack. Number one, when you see something that is generic, for instance, from your bank, and then you see something like, dear customer, look carefully. Okay, one thing is generic form of greeting. All right, then you also have this kind of suspicious email address. I just gave an example. Probably the legit one should be Fidelity Bank, okay, with a small letter, F small, bank small, right? But now the phishing one will now come with Fidelity with big F, capital F, and then so you should have eyes for details. Nothing must change entirely. It could just be from uppercase to lowercase and from lowercase to uppercase. So you should also have this eyes for details and all of that. Then I've said generic greetings, dear user, dear customer, hello sir, / madam. All of these things are signs that these people are not the good ones. So yeah, legit companies or organization, if they want to address you, they address you by your real name. Okay, so when you say dear customer, your account has been blocked or you are required, just know that they are the ones. Okay, so they are trying to just get you to expose your credentials for their malicious purpose. Then probably another urgent, maybe threatening language like, and your account has been suspended, or something like, and if you don't do this between 24 hours, you will not, things like that are just tricks to push you to just put you under tension and then make you, so this kind of urgent language and threatening language is just a sign. Okay, someone asked this question, so I'm trying to tell you that this is how you should know. Yeah, and also unusual or unexpected attachments. When you're not expecting a link from somewhere, even if it's from your office, most organizations, before they send an attachment, there should be, should I say, a mail before that. You will be sent an attachment with, there should be a pre-information about the attachment that will be sent later. Okay, but if all of a sudden you just say an attachment, and attachments, it could be a zip file, it could be a text, just anything, right? It is advised you don't open those attachments. Please don't even try, don't even, just delete it. All right, delete it. If it's from your organization, they will resend it. But I'm sure no organization will just wake up one morning and then send an attachment that its staff are not expecting. As I said, misleading links. You go online, and then you're being redirected from wherever to wherever, and then all of a sudden, congratulations, you have won yourself 1 million naira, and you are, so things like that. So have I answered your question? Also, spelling errors, you could look at for spelling errors, right? Yeah, look at for spelling errors. You could also look at for anyone asking for your sensitive information. Of course, you should know by now that they are not from the original. Someone said, call this number is a sign. Exactly. Call this number is a sign. Okay, just wow. Can you imagine? Someone said, in my wife's case, the banker herself called and asked for details in Unity Bank. So when you hear, look, there is no bank unless you are there live. Once a banker calls, before, like some years back, I had this experience, and it is because of this experience that I was moved into cybersecurity. I was duped, like, from the bank. So when you're saying from your wife's bank, I'm not surprised. A huge amount of money was withdrawn from my account, and I was seated though, everything was, hey God. So most times that thing now pushed me. I said, so these guys are this bad to this extent. So I had to pick up interest, and I said, no, I think we should start spreading the news of how this gets away with all of this. So once you get a call from your bank, whether it's the manager, walk to the bank. Don't just give any information because a banker called you. Go to the bank and then inquire. Make out time to, who I received this phone call. How is it possible that, things like that. So please, we should be mindful. So we should be mindful, please. It doesn't mean if you get a call from your bank. Yeah, my experience was terrible. It was bad. Like, it was bad. And I knew it was from the bank. Yeah, it was actually from the bank. So whenever you see calls from, even if it's the manager of that bank, walk to any branch closest to you. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, the SOC analyst identifies unusual login attempts and then flags the phishing email and then blocks. Then the blue team takes the following action: investigate compromised accounts to prevent further access, update security policies, and train employees on email safety, mostly because phishing usually is from emails or websites, right? They'll just link you up or send emails to you. Then strengthens multi-factor authentication to prevent unauthorized login. So these are what the SOC analyst will do when there is a phishing attempt. And these steps are also the actions that will be taken by the blue team. Multi-factor authentication, very, very, very important. So it is advised you have another device that is connected, right, that grants access to your login. multi-factor authentication. Please don't play with it because it's going to get bad very soon. Okay, so now I have this class activity. Having looked at um, having looked at this first one, the ransomware attack, and then the phishing attempt, what the SOC analyst will do when there is a ransomware attack, and what the blue team will, the actions they will take when there is a ransomware attack, and also what actions should be taken when there is a phishing attempt by the SOC analyst, and also the action that needs to be taken or that will be taken from the blue team when there is also a phishing attempt. I would want you to do this, right? Sorry. Demonstrate how SOC and blue teams can collaborate to detect, respond to, and prevent exfiltrating of sensitive data from an organization. How will SOC, what action will SOC analysts take when there is an exfiltrating of sensitive data from an organization? Exfiltrating means movement of sensitive data, right? When all of a sudden you can't find some data in your organization, it happens. Okay, you can't find sensitive data in your organization. What will the SOC analyst, what action will the SOC analyst carry out, and what action will the blue team carry out when there is such incident in an organization? I need our answer. I'll drop it on the LMS. Okay, type text, say identify the bulk transfer of data on the network. That's for, okay, yeah, exactly. And then what happens next? First, scan the network. Okay, remember what SOC analysts, what they do. Flags the MAC and IP address used in transferring. Beautiful. Okay. It's only tithes that is giving us answer. Some never received LMS. Okay, no problem. Okay. It's Gabby. Noted. SOC will escalate the threat to the how. What action will it take first before escalating? The blue will do backup and restore the data. All right. They will find how the attacker got the information, I guess, analyzes what happened to the data, alert incident response team about the anomaly, detect the animals. It's been deleted. Okay, alert incident response team about the anomaly and analyze the threat. I want you to, when you go back after this class, just go through the ransomware attack, what the SOC analyst will do, the action the SOC analyst will take, and the action the blue team will take. Then also for the phishing attempt, what actions are being taken respectively, and then try and see how you would come up with what action the SOC analyst will take if there is an exfiltration of sensitive data from your organization. Flag and block, sharp, Apache. There's no time, right? You just flag and block. Logs, check. So most of you have forgotten that these things, especially for exfiltration, they don't just come once to pick those sensitive data. All right. They don't just, it doesn't happen once. It doesn't happen at once. So because the SOC analyst is always continuously monitoring logs and events, okay? At each point something happens, there should be a log. So you should also bear in mind that these things don't happen once. If there is an exfiltration, it means over time, data has been missing. All right. Data has been missing. So how do I go about? Someone said just block. I might use, if I am a hacker, I might use different IP addresses to gain access to your sensitive data. And I'm the same person doing what I'm doing. So how do you go about it? There should be a particular mode of carrying out such activity, all right, from the attacker's side. Right. So someone is saying here, I think I need to read up all of this. Alert incident response from TIDES, alert incident response team about the anomaly. Then Michael Oluwaseun says, analyze the threat. Folarin SOC detects the anomaly using CMS logs. Beautiful. Then edits Inyang. SOC will flag the IP address and escalate it. Then SOC will sense it. This is from Insight TVisions. SOC will sense it and escalate it to the blue team, and then they will do backup and restore. Blue team isolates, checkmates, and prevents spread. This time around, it is not a malware. All right, it is not a malware. SOC will monitor and detect how the network is attacked, identify, okay. So a whole lot of us are trying to come up with the actions that are required. We have a lot of them here. This is beautiful. Filters, a comment, and so it will now lead us to our next topic, which is introduction to SIEM. Introduction to SIEM. What is SIEM? SIEM stands for Security, Information, and Event Management. In fact, it has to do with two words, which is security, information management, and then event management, all brought together. Okay, so here now, SIEM is a centralized system that collects, analyzes, and responds to security data. All right. And then two, it provides real-time visibility into an organization's network and their systems, right? Real-time visibility into an organization's network and systems. And then it helps security teams detect and mitigate threats. All right. So I have this question now. If you had to choose, which would you go for? SOC or the blue team? This is an icebreaker session now. If you're going for SOC, can I see your feedback or your chats from all of this? Okay, Femi says blue team, blue team, blue team, blue team for a start SOC. Tight text said for a start SOC. Then Tima Baven, I will go for the SOC. I prefer SOC. Ayodele, blue team, blue team, blue team, blue team. So, okay, another question. Between the SOC and the blue team, I don't want to be biased, but let me ask it this way. Okay, between SOC and blue team, which do you think um, is more stressful? Which is more stressful? Which consumes more energy? Which consumes more energy? Uh, Depending on how busy your organization is and how busy that network is. I, to me, I feel SOC. Yeah, I feel SOC consumes a lot of energy because it is a continuous monitoring. Without the SOC, probably the blue team would not really have, I'm not saying, but in most cases, the blue team will not be fed with any information in such a in a certain way, right? So to me, SOC is a bit stressful than the blue team. The blue team work with the reports that is brought from the security operations centers, right? And but for those ones there, they have to keep their eyes on the network like a 247 thing. Because if anything goes wrong, men, they should be held responsible. For me, I'm not saying mine is, for me, I feel SOC, their eyes has to be steady on the network or on to monitor whatever comes in, and then before they push it to the blue team. All right, thanks for your response. SOC is more busy. So which would you prefer now? For those that want to be more busy, blue team, SOC are just like the technical support unit. Very important. Yeah, technical support. So you can imagine if the SOC analyst for Gmail is always resting, or if there is no system in place that checks for all of this password change, access to email, if there's no system that is in check, that is in place, do you think there will be response? Yeah, monitoring tools make it easy. Automation of all of this. Yeah. Okay, someone said I switched to blue team. It's fine. So let's get back to our introduction to SIEM in um, cybersecurity. So we are done with what security information and event management is. We say it's a centralized system that collects, analyzes, and responds to security data. Then it provides real-time visibility into an organization's network and system. Then helps security team detect and mitigate threats. Wow. Defensive cybersecurity is very interesting. Who agrees with me? Yes, yes, Anthony, the blue team can, but most times they might not have the patience to do the needful. Okay. All right. Now, the key function of security information and events management is one, to collect data, collection of data, gathers data from network devices. It could be routers, switches, gathers data from servers, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, gathers data from application, web apps, database, and then security tools also. All right. So the first thing they do, the first thing that security information and event management does is gathering of information. Information gathering. Again, then types of data that are being gathered. One, we have log files, we have event data and security alerts. Hopefully you should have known how to collect data logs, right? I want to guess right. I want to guess we all can collect data log from Windows. Am I getting a yes or a no? Just to double check, Justin. People like spoon feeding, eh? So I said no. Oh, oh, okay. Using event log, and you should be taught no. I'm saying yes, I'm saying no, both person. No, 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 no. I'm talking about logs now, not our kind of passive and active. No, not in vulnerability, not in vulnerability assessment. Now I'm talking about collecting of data log from Windows. Yes, using event view. Have we been taught? Have you guys been taught using event views? Event view, sorry. Okay. Okay then. Okay, Justina. Okay, fine. No problem. Oh. So probably those people saying no, but were you taught? I'm sure my colleague should have touched on that. So if you're saying no, it means maybe you didn't pay attention or you didn't get it. Nobody teach you. European bubble. So all of this, yes, we are getting. Who taught them? Yes. Thank you very much, Team Albiven. Mr. Emmanuel taught us, but we'll appreciate if you can recap. All right. Because I want, yes, using event viewer. Yes. Nice. So can you still remember how to? Thank you very much. Can you still remember how to collect data log using event viewer? Okay. So it is very important you don't throw away whatever you have been taught, because it's like we are building on, yeah, okay, the last class. Thank you very much. So the types of data that are gathered are log files, event data, security, alerts. So we can just quickly do that. Yeah. You can actually get all of this using Windows, using event viewer in Windows. Okay. Yes, you have been taught. So there will be an assignment at the end of this session, not this before we round up all of this, because we're going to be looking out for phishing and also brute force attack, and then gathering our data logs, right? So if you are not yet conversant with that, go back. It's not difficult. It's not difficult. Just press the win button on your screen with R, win plus R, and then type events vwr.mst, and then it brings up, you can get your logs from there. All right. So now, remember we're talking about security information and event management. We said the first thing that should be done is to gather information. They gather information. And how are this information gotten? From network devices, servers, applications, and all of that. How do you get this information, or the types of information? From log files, event data, security alerts, and all of that. And all of these can be gotten from your system. Okay. Then the second thing, the key function, the second function of the security information and event management is event correlation. When these data are collected, it analyzes to find patterns, okay, and correlations during events. Just as I said, if sensitive data are leaving your system, it might take months, probably even before you notice, okay? So when you're doing your analysis, there should be a pattern that you should lay your hands on. Okay, at so time, for instance, at so time, a file is being deleted. At a particular time, a file is, I'm just giving you one out of 100 of them, all right? At a particular time, you notice that at this particular time, a file is being deleted. Maybe it takes like 4, 5, or 2 weeks to repeat itself, okay? So when these data are collected, then there is event correlation, analyzes collected data to find patterns and correlation during this event, and then helps detect suspicious or unusual activity that may indicate a breach. All right. So this is what, we are not analysts do as an IT person, and also what the blue team do. Okay, now, then after that, alerting and notification. The SIEM triggers alerts when potential threats are identified. Notify security team with critical threat details and recommended actions. Okay, this is what this SIEM does. Then reporting and compliance, generates reports for audit and compliance, reports adherence to industry standards and regulatory requirements. And then we have here real-time monitoring and analysis, security information and event management, monitors real-time. It is a real-time thing. It doesn't wait for when the event has happened. Real-time monitoring provides live visibility into security events, and then enables immediate response to emerging threats. All right. And then I think that's the final one that happens. Okay. So in our next class, we'll be using the SIEM tools to carry out all of this. We'll gather data, we'll do all of these functions, all right? We'll gather data, we'll do reporting, we'll do event correlation, we'll do alerting and notification, and then we'll have to do, if time permits, we'll do our real-time monitoring and analysis, okay? So please go back, revisit your previous class, or replay it, and then be conversant with some of these things. All right. Thank you very much. Question from today's session. Yes, you have to download SIEM tools. I talked about, because SOC analysts, I know where your question is coming from. You're asking, are pen testers SOC analysts? I think I've answered this question before when someone was asking if the SOC analysts do the same work with the red team. Remember, the pen tester exploits vulnerability, right? But the SOC analyst just gets the vulnerability and then moves it. They don't have the capacity um, to work on the vulnerability, right? But for the pen tester, he has the ability to get the search for vulnerability, exploit the vulnerability, and then come up with their recommendation. Okay, so they have the ability also to do that. Yeah. Thank you. You want to download? I would want us to use Wazoo, but Wazoo is a bit technical. Okay, Wazoo, we need to use let's say 2 systems for that, but I don't know how it will play out. Yes, yes, I think Splunk will be better because Wazoo is going to be a bit technical. Okay, but let me just go through and then see. No, we can't. Somebody say hi, Wazoo. Yeah, right. So whatever information you need before Thursday, you'll get it on your LMS or on um, your WhatsApp platform. All right. In the absence of any other question, have a peaceful night rest. Someone is saying, I believe in us, we can do it. You can do a Zoom. Okay. So just be there and then you tell me that. All right. Thank you, guys. It's been wonderful. Read through and then let's get ready for our next hands-on. Thank you and have a peaceful night rest. Good night and bye.